Welcome to Book Nook, the coziest place for book lovers to chat about the stories that shape us. I'm Marie.
And I'm Barbara, and each episode we dive into the books we love, the ones that challenge us, and everything in between. Ready to talk books? It's time to turn the page.
Hey, Barbara.
Hey Mary, how are you?
Good. Summer's finally here in Montreal, so happy
Woohoo!
about that.
Exactly.
What about you? Tell us about your new place, new city.
Yeah, I moved to York. I'm in Yorkshire now. It's the best place in the UK. Okay, last time I said the best place was in Scotland, but I changed my mind because Yorkshire all the way now.
Nice. I mean, I've seen pictures and it looks just so cute.
Yeah, I wait for you to visit me and we can do a special episode of Book Nook because Yorkshire is the birthplace of many great authors, including the Bronte sisters.
Oh, yeah, I know. I'm so jealous that you get to visit their grave and where they live.
The graves, I'm not sure, but the castles and cottages and everything. Yes.
I was like thinking about this. Okay, I'm being weird. I was thinking about like how you never mind. It's okay. Let's just say that you visited where they are from and that's important. But I think I also said this because one of the places that I want to visit is where Jane Austen is buried. So I was thinking
And
about that. It's not the same region at all,
where
but
is
I'm
it?
just
Is it near Bath?
no. It's I always forget the name because I actually visited the Jane Austen house. It's basically where she lived at the end of her life with her sister and mom. It's called Shorten, and I think it's nearby, but I don't remember the name of the church area where she's buried. So I'm a bad fan, actually. I told everyone that I was the biggest fan, but apparently I'm bad with names. Anyway, so I was thinking about that, but talking about authors and really famous authors and celebrities, today we are diving into a trend that has been very important in the literature or the literary environment, book culture in general, celebrities recommending books. And
Yeah.
we are liking this trend because a lot of stars that we like are getting into the book conversation.
What a way to introduce the topic today.
Yeah, I tried to have this smooth transition from one topic to another. Why we wanted to talk about this, and I guess we're giving fuel to this trend of celebrities with books. It's that we noticed that in celebrity interviews, whereas it used to be really focused on fashion, relationships, so drama, but also obviously celebrities talking about their films, their series, and so on. But we have noticed that now interviewers do ask the question, what are you reading, to celebrities? And a good example is Vanity Fair doing profiles on celebrities, but also during red carpet interviews, that can happen too. One example that I have in mind, talking about Vanity Fair, it's when Bridgerton, the last season of Bridgerton was released. They had this whole campaign, media campaign, obviously, to promote the new season. And I remember this video where each cast member was asked, what are you reading right now? And yeah, that
Yeah,
was,
sometimes I wonder if they're actually reading a book, because we see videos and interviews where celebrities talk about books, but sometimes I'm not sure
yeah.
because I'm wondering if it's just for the trend and to stay relevant. So it's another debate.
No,
I
but
won't get
it's,
into it, but yeah, I'm
no,
wondering.
it's a very interesting point because this trend is also related to book talk
Mm.
and the fact that books are a source of content and also identity. It enables people in general, and I guess celebrities too, to showcase their ideas or showcase their intellectual interests, and depending on what you recommend as like the books that we recommend, then you will give out a different vibe. But it's a really good source of content. Like we all do this, both do it, and celebrities do it too. Taking pictures of what we read
Yeah.
by the pool, by on the nightstand, or when you travel. And obviously celebrities have an influence. Like if I post a book that I'm reading, probably I don't have an influence, maybe on my friends. But when you're a celebrity, you have a really wide audience. And circling back to what I said about book talk, obviously there's this loop of when a book is trending on TikTok and then celebrities share that they're reading and they're part of this trend. And then it's just fuels this
Yeah.
um, huge trend on social media. So it's like this virtuous loop of
Yeah,
something being viral.
it's like a new medium, because if you think about it, before we had shows or a movie, and then of course after that books are selling more, but now you have book talk too, so maybe it's just another medium in the circle when you think about it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Do you think that you're influenced in terms of books that you see on social media?
Oh, for
And
sure.
but do you like look at who's recommending it in order to decide if you trust
Yeah,
the
but
opinion?
because on Instagram and TikTok, I follow book talkers or bookstagrammers
Yeah,
who read the same books I read.
yeah,
So I know if, for example, I follow an Instagrammer from Canada, Books with Buzzy, and I know everything she recommends, I will like. So I buy the book. I trust her. So, but sometimes, like some of them, and that's the power of Book Talk too and Bookstagram,
mm,
because you can be super specific if you're into crime or into gothic novels, or
yeah,
I don't know, super
yeah,
specific things. For example, I don't like gothic novels, so I don't follow people who are specialists of these kind of novels. So yeah, I think if you're specific, you know what you like, you follow these people, and it's a way to know more books, more authors too.
yeah,
And sometimes you can try different genre. So
yeah.
to
That's a
expand your your mind.
yeah. No, for sure. I don't follow a lot of content creators recommending books, or maybe I do, but I consider it a small amount. But it's just that I do struggle with keeping up with all the recommendations that they make. I have one idea, like two examples in mind. I feel like they read so many books and they recommend so many books that my TBR would just explode, or I would need 100 years to read everything. It's a good source of inspiration, at least. And for example, one of the people that I have in mind, she's a French content creator. So I might put the link in our show notes, but if our listeners speak English, it's not very interesting. And she promotes a lot of content on Korea. And it's not,
Oh,
you know, a country that I know a lot of things about, or I haven't read a lot of books by Korean authors. But the really cool thing is, you know how Gen Zs are, maybe not just Gen Zs, but there's this whole cultural thing with K-pop. And my niece, she's a huge fan, so I feel like I can connect with her because now I see content on
oh.
Korea. But I feel like so old, like this. I'm the aunt who doesn't know anything about K-pop, and
And we're millennials, but we could be Gen Z, like in just a year. Like we're
yeah,
95 and it's 96 for them. So
yeah. But I feel like I belong among the millennials. So I I agree that we were born, you know, on the edge of Gen Z, like Gen Z
yeah.
generation, and but no, I'm a millennial. Like I recognize the Gen Zs that I've met in my life, and I'm like, I'm definitely a millennial.
But you know, that's funny because I don't have any reference, but like from the millennial and the Gen Zs too, because I moved countries so much.
Yeah,
But I'm completely lost everywhere. Like I don't know the, like some slang. I don't know the influencers. I don't know the singers. I'm like, okay,
that's why you're a millennial. You don't have the. But sorry for this tangent,
yeah.
but it's very interesting because this whole idea of us as readers being influenced by content that we see, obviously when you trust a person, when you like the person, you will be even more prone to follow the recommendation. It's
Okay,
like when a friend tells you to read a book.
I have to mention like this influencer because I love him so much. He's the best, Jack Edwards. I know you know
Yeah,
him.
Yeah.
Uh,
I had him in mind when I was talking about the
yeah,
two
yeah.
influencers that post a lot.
He got
Yeah.
famous on TikTok.
Yeah.
He has a great YouTube channel, and
Yes.
he is great. Like, and I love his personality too.
Yeah.
And yeah, everything he shares, I love the books. And even like sometimes he talks about poetry
Yeah.
or like kinds of books I don't really like normally.
Yeah.
But I just read the books because I know I will find, if it's not the story, the writing interesting. So if you follow only one person, follow Jack Edwards.
I second this opinion, and I really like his vibe.
Yeah, it's
You
so
know, and
sweet. Like, I'm
yeah,
sure. Please, Jack Edwards, if you listen to Book Nook, maybe we can dream. We can be friends. I can go down to London and have coffee with you.
okay. I have a fun fact. So I heard of him. You know, some years back, followed him, and then at that time he was living in Paris because he has moved quite often. Like he was in New York, he was in Paris, whatever. And I was talking with my friend, also named Marie, anyway, and she saw one of his stories on Instagram saying that he was new in Paris, he was looking to connect with people or whatever, or like recommendations, and she texted saying, oh, like, we can meet up for coffee and talk about books, and he never answered her message. So I was mad at him. It doesn't make sense. Like, I don't
The
know why. Like,
disappointment. I see the disappointment in your eyes right now.
he doesn't owe me anything, and he didn't owe anything to my friend. But I was like, for a few weeks, I unfollowed him, and I was like, no, this is stupid. Like, I followed him.
It's so funny. You hold a grudge.
That's drama, you know. Like, but anyway, so but you can try, and
We
I'm
never
sure
know.
he's a fun person to connect with. You know.
Okay,
Um,
so celebrities.
yeah.
We're
Sorry,
back to it.
we're talking about celebrities. But yeah, just like a friend, influencers, whatever, celebrities do have an impact because I know, for example, when I love an actress, an actor, you know, public figure, then I would be interested in knowing what they liked too. And what you said about this trend being like, is it fake or is it genuine for celebrities to share this? Obviously, there's probably a bit of both. But what is true is sharing book recommendations is a good way to connect with your audience and with your fans because it's, you know, it shows that they're humans, human beings, normal people like us, I guess, and they can relate to a romance novel or I don't know if some of them like thrillers or, you know, different genres, whatever. And I think that's why they're talking about bookstagrammers, influencers, content creators. There are a lot of content being created on what celebrities read. Well, that's actually what we're doing today. So, bit of inception here, but I remember us when we researched this for this episode, we found this Instagram account on celebrities recs, like book recommendations, and it was a really good source of ideas. But yeah, there are a lot of videos and content on what Taylor Swift reads. We'll talk about this later in the episode, or, you know, other famous people. So it's a really good way to engage on social media as well. So, yep. But I think we can also dive into concrete examples. And actually, there are so many examples of celebrities that engaged with book content, and we decided to pick just three. So very personal, random, not random, but like personal choices. We could have
Yeah,
picked,
people, celebrities we like.
yeah. I mean, we could have, for example, to be fair, we could have talked about Oprah Winfrey because she does engage in that sphere. We could have talked
You
about,
know what? I forgot she had a famous book club.
yeah. And I think it's like probably like I don't remember when she created it, but she's probably the mother of everything,
Yeah,
like
that's
all the
true. Mm,
book clubs that we're going to talk about after
mm.
that, because Oprah, she's a queen of,
Yeah,
I
she's
don't
the
know.
queen.
Yeah,
She's
I
a
just,
great
I don't know.
businesswoman too. So
So we're not going to talk about her. Another example that I had in mind that we're not going to dive into is Sarah Jessica Parker. She actually if I'm not wrong, created this firm that publishes books.
Really? Okay.
So I think it's like one step further into the book
Mm. World.
world, book world. Anyway, so we're not going to talk about those two, but they're interesting examples. The first one that I wanted to talk about, even though it's not a very active community, is Emma Watson. She launched an initiative in 2016 called Our Shared Shelf. Ooh, Our Shared Shelf. Hard to say for me, sorry. And why I wanted to talk about this is, even though it hasn't been active since 2020, it's a good example of how books can be a vector for activism and how you can convey ideas with books and by promoting authors. And in her case, it's an online, obviously, book club, but feminist book club. And I think it was in collaboration with Goodreads. I actually use Goodreads as a reader. One of the picks that were among the books that she promoted, I actually read and talked about this in another episode. It's called Persepolis by Marjane Satrapi,
You read the
an
same
author from
books.
Iran. Sorry?
You read the same books. It's a sign.
It's a sign, yeah.
You should be friends.
I wish I could be friends with Emma Watson. Really. I almost wanted to start a tangent, but I think we have had enough. It's just like I'm thinking about the cast for the new Harry Potter series.
Yeah. And you know, Emma Watson, she's currently studying for a PhD at Oxford. And I think she's doing a PhD in literature, but I
I'm
have
not
to check.
surprised. I'm not surprised, but it's so cool. Oh my God. I mean, I'm sure she's a very sweet, smart,
Yeah.
nice person. And the fact that she used her fame and her power as one of the most, I don't know, like she's so famous.
Mm.
Obviously, she was cast in Harry Potter as a kid, and using that to do good in the community, that's just goes to show what a good person she is.
Yeah, that's a testament to who she is and her values.
And okay, there are a lot of other picks in her list, but I think we'll just link it in the show notes, and people can go look into this list. And the good thing is, even though the community is not active, there is like this list of books exists. So the cool thing is, people who are interested in this feminist book club and book recommendations can go there. It's still online, and they can check out the recommendations. So that's a really cool thing. On the other hand, second example we wanted to talk about is Reese Witherspoon. This is a very active community on the,
Yeah.
on the other hand. And also, our last episode was actually on a book that she picked in May or June. I forgot which month Emily Henry's book was picked by Reese
May.
Witherspoon.
May.
Okay, May, for her book club.
And fun fact, I read every book recommended by Reese Witherspoon Book Club because it's always a good pick.
I
So
agree.
I always wait. I follow them on Instagram and I wait for the book recommendation of the month and I buy the book.
Yeah, because as you just said, so the idea here is she posts a book recommendation each month. And if I'm not wrong, all of the book recommendations are books written by women.
Yeah.
And what's really interesting in this initiative from Reese is, not only does she promote books written by women, but she also helps them being adapted into movies or series. And maybe
That's a great business idea.
yeah, it's a great business idea.
Because she makes a lot of money. And I read I think it was in Vogue. They did an interview with her and she explained like the business model and everything. And she's a billionaire now. So you see, with books, you can make money too.
Yeah. The only thing that I'm happy about and why I support and follow her book club is, I know that even though it's true that it's a good business venture, it's also because she wants to do good. Like, she truly believes in promoting
Yeah, in the authors too.
the authors.
Yeah. And she loves books. And I think it's not always like in May, she promoted like Emily Henry and she's super famous. But sometimes it's the underdogs. So you discover new books, new authors. It's great for literature in general and especially for women authors.
Yeah.
Because things have changed, but when you look at the press and marketing and everything, men are still like at the front. So it's good to have a media which empowers women like she does.
Yeah. And what you said about underdogs, I think her pick for June, I don't remember the title, but I think it's a debut novel,
Yeah.
which is a good example of her not just promoting
Mm,
famous authors, but also
mm.
new authors. So that's a really cool thing. But a few picks that we liked, Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia. Do we say Delia Owens? I read the book and saw the movie because that one was adapted, and I think you did too.
Yeah. Loved
Love
it.
that one.
Mm.
Another one, I'm going to let you talk about it. Daisy Jones and the Six
Yeah.
by Taylor Jenkins Reid.
You know, from the past episodes, I love Taylor Jenkins Reid. I'm actually currently reading her last book. It's great. Maybe her best, actually. So. But yeah, Daisy Jones and the Six, the book was great. And the series adaptation, oh my God, you have to watch this.
So
It's
good.
so good. The music is so good. Like, I downloaded the album on Spotify and I listen to it all the time.
I agree. I did not read the book, to be
Oh,
honest,
okay.
but I did watch the series and it was really
Mm.
good. Another one is Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. Same there. I watched the movie when it was out. Love Rosamund Pike, the actress who plays the main character, but I haven't read the book.
I haven't read the book either, so I add this to my TBR.
And two other really famous book recommendations, part of Reese Witherspoon book club. The Last Thing He Told Me by Laura Dave and Big Little Lies by Leanne Moriarty.
I love Lion Moriarty, and I think I spotted a new book in the library today. Add this
Oh.
to my TBR too. But Big Little Lies, I don't know if you know about it. It's good. It's really good.
I've heard of it, but I
Mm.
haven't read it, so can't
Yeah,
speak to
she's
it.
a good thriller author.
Okay, interesting. Well, as you said, we can trust anything that is
Yeah.
recommended by Reese Witherspoon Book Club. It's a great social media account to follow. Well, she already has a lot of followers, but I think I saw that it was, wait, it's in my show notes, 3 million followers on Instagram.
Not surprised.
Not
Mm.
bad, but it's good content, so it's book content, good content. Okay, time to talk about our third example.
Yeah, time to talk about my favorite subject. Taylor.
As a Swiftie, I had to get, to let you be the one
Yeah,
talking about this.
actually, to express my love for Taylor Swift, you know, in your Spotify Wrapped at the end of the year,
Mhm.
I'm in the top 0.02% of listeners. So I'm not like a basic Swiftie.
Wow. Okay, that's
I
a
hold
good
this
KPI.
title with pride.
I'm impressed because when you think about it, there are a lot of Swifties out there.
But
So
I basically only listen to Taylor Swift, so I'm not original at all. Because for me, okay, maybe I'm going to shock some people, but she's the greatest writer of our generation.
no, okay. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not. I cannot consider myself a Swiftie because I know a lot of her songs or several of her songs, and I really like them. But I don't know everything about Taylor Swift. But what I like about her songs is the lyrics, the
Yeah,
writing. I mean, obviously the melodies are nice too, but I agree with you that she has written amazing songs and she's so prolific. Like she has
yeah,
written so many songs. I don't have the number, but it's must be hundreds of
hundreds,
songs.
hundreds.
And she's 34, 35. I think she was born in
30,
1980.
35.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
she's young.
Yeah, she's a poet. She's a poet. And almost every song is a story, especially in the folklore and evermore era.
Yeah.
So it's like novels. You follow a story from start
Yes.
to end. So yeah, that's why I love her so much because I, the thing is, I love music. I listen to music like almost all day, even when I'm walking. I need a sound in the background, but I like lyrics, like for
Mm.
every singer. I
Yeah.
don't, I sometimes I don't even care about the music, the sound. I care about the lyrics. So that's why I love her so much. So of course, we had to look at what books are Taylor's favorite for the episode. So a few, and I will say I'm not surprised because her choices are so Taylor, mostly like classics and poetic books. So we have The Great Gatsby, of course, it's a classic for sure. Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. So it's a great book too. Love story, a bit of mystery and crime and thriller. So it's a bit of everything. I actually really like this book and the
Wait,
adaptation too,
can we pause?
of course.
Because you said that you didn't like gothic novels, but what about Rebecca? Because it
Yeah,
isn't it
but
considered as a
I like Rebecca.
okay, interesting. That's
And
interesting.
actually, the fun thing is I watched the movie before reading the book. So
Okay.
maybe that's the reason I have like another approach to this specific book because that's true. Normally, I don't like gothic novels.
Okay. But as you said, I'm not surprised that Taylor Swift would recommend Rebecca.
Yeah, poetry, Emily Dickinson, Sylvia Plath, and I think she reads a lot of poetry. She never
Yeah.
like taught this anywhere, but it's a supposition because she writes poetry in all
Mm.
her songs. So suppose she writes a lot in her spare time. And finally, The Giver by Lois Lowry. So she named it like one of her favorites as a teen. And she even played a small role in the movie. So she like, I suppose it's really one of her favorites because I haven't seen her in anything except this movie. So
Yeah. Well, to conclude this Taylor Swift book Rex, what's your favorite song if you had to pick one? This is hard. I know it's hard.
I can't. And sometimes it's a different song, but
Or can you pick an album maybe?
oh yeah, folklore.
Okay. Folklore. Okay.
But sometimes it depends on your mood because sometimes when it's summer now, I'm
Yes.
happy. I listen to 1989. When it's autumn, I listen to folklore, Evermore. It depends of my mood, the
Okay.
the season of life too. And she has a song for everything. So,
Okay.
and I listen on repeat. So, for example, All Too Well, 10-minute version. It's the song I listen to when I run.
Okay.
So I just listen for 10 minutes and 10 minutes and 10 minutes again.
Wow.
Told you I'm crazy.
Well,
Uh,
I'm not judging the listening to the same songs because I think I'm that kind of music enthusiast. Like I don't really listen to new things that often. I like listening to what I like. It's
yeah.
when I was a teenager, I would listen to The Clash on repeat, like the album
Oh,
London Calling. I know super well because I just listened to that album on repeat. So I get that.
love that.
That makes sense to me. Okay. I don't know if you have other fun facts on celebrities recommending books. Um,
I have fun facts for everything.
okay.
You know my life.
I know. Because
I
I'm
don't
so sorry.
have stories to tell.
I'm trying to fuel this, like trying to give you some uh I'm trying to get you to tell us about Harry Styles.
Yeah, I knew it. I knew it.
Because here, okay, there is no name for this, but I am a Harry Styles, whatever the name is.
You're an Aries.
Is that the name?
They call the Aries. Yes.
Okay, I'm disappointed. Okay, okay. Okay, I am.
And the thing is, so I'm going to share my story and you're going to laugh at home when you listen. But yeah, Harry Styles, he recommended a book by Haruki Murakami called Norwegian Wood. And the thing is, I didn't really like Harry Styles before. Like, I had no opinion about him. Like, no opinion. Then I went to see I went to see two fortune tellers. The first fortune teller person told me I was gonna marry a famous British millionaire. And I was like, okay, interesting. But I didn't like, it never crossed my mind like Harry Styles. Then I had a dream. I was married to Harry Styles. And I went to see a second fortune teller. And she told me I will marry a famous British singer. And my life will change like completely 100%. And I'm like, okay, famous British singer, millionaire, Arista, maybe. So after that, like I started like looking for things about his life online. And
Interviews.
I mean, he's not my type at all. So, but life can
No.
be surprising. We never know.
Yeah. He's I remember you telling me that you found him kind of not weird, but aloof. Yes, is the word for it
I
during
watched,
his interviews.
yeah, I watched because he's a great lyricist too. He's a great writer because his songs, like I like his songs, like very good. I'm not a fan, but he's good. He's good. But I watched two interviews because I wanted to like hear him talk and if he was smart.
Your future husband.
Exactly. So I watched two interviews with Zane Rowe. He's from New Zealand, a journalist from New Zealand for Apple Music. And the first interview, I found like, I remember thinking Harry was like on drugs or something. The way he talked and interacted with the journalists, like he used like super difficult and all the words and super short sentences and everything. And I thought, oh my God, okay. But I realized watching the second interview, like 2 years after, it was the same guy. I said, okay, no, he's just super smart and likes to think about life and everything. And I remember, and that's a bonus and a plus for him. He said in the interview, when he drives and for long distances, he listens not to music, but to books. So that's a very good point.
That's it. Okay. I was just also on the side looking at his birth date because I thought he was an Aquarius, and it's confirmed that he's an Aquarius because his. Anyway, we're not gonna get into astrology right now, but I'm not surprised that from what you said of the way he is during interviews, a bit like weird and all. Not surprised. I'm saying this. I'm an Aquarius, so
Yeah, I
I'm
was
not
going to say,
judging.
I think you're from February too.
I'm not judging. I'm not judging.
But
Anyway,
I will keep Murakami. Like won't be surprised if it's his favorite author
yeah,
because I read I don't even remember the name, but the trilogy from Murakami, and it was super hard to read.
yeah,
Like I remember reading it in English, and the words he used and the way the story was structured,
yeah.
yeah, it was a bit like too much for me, but it's perfect for someone who is like in his head like him. I don't even know him and I have so many opinions, but if he's my future husband, I have to be prepared.
Oh my god, the fortune tellers have.
But maybe it's another like British millionaire singer. I don't know. Maybe I have to make a list.
I wish it were Harry Styles. I would be jealous, but I really like his music. Anyway, I wanted to end the episode by talking about how celebrities recommending books can go wrong. Because it's like when someone recommends something, you have a level of trust that can be deep, and then you can have an even higher fall, I guess. Like the disappointment is even, it's just stronger because of how much you trusted the person. The first one, and I know we agree on this, Barbara, is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho.
I will never understand the hype around this book.
Me neither. I was in a Parisian bookstore, English bookstore, and I saw it and I was like, oh, very cute cover. last time I'm going to buy a book judging it on its cover. I'm just saying this. So cute book, really short book. And then it was written, I think, on the cover or behind it, I don't know, that it was the favorite book of a huge list of famous people. Among them, Barack Obama. I was like, what the fuck? Okay, this is this person's favorite book and that person as well. I'm like, okay, I guess I should love it too. Like, let's buy it. It's short, looks nice, and hated it. Like, this book is so bad.
And you know, that's another thing, like, I can't, like, comprehend how is it possible that so many people say it's my favorite book. No, it's because you heard someone telling it's my favorite book, so it's your favorite book now. Like, I can't believe
Yeah.
it.
And it's like, I hate when books are so, like, they want to be perceived as really deep because they talk about, you know, the meaning of life, whatever. But in the end, the writing is just bad and it's just shallow. Like, it,
Yeah,
I don't
the
know.
message in itself, like, it's full of good sentiments, and it's a good
Yeah.
message. We're not criticizing like, the
No, for
purpose
sure.
of the
No, no.
book, but the writing could definitely be better.
Yeah. So that's the first example that I wanted to talk about. And the second one, the second one, we have to talk about it because it has a link with the podcast. So Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldry. So I told you guys at the beginning of the episode that a lot of interviews with actresses and actors, they do ask the question, what are you reading? And I saw this video when, again, the third season of Bridgerton was out and the cast was asked, what are you reading? And one of my favorite actress in the series, Claudia Jessie, she's Eloise in the series, Eloise Bridgerton, she recommended this book. And to be fair, the tagline is perfect. High fantasy with low stakes. I was like, why not? I like fantasy. Claudia Jessie, she's reading it. I
Low
guess she likes it.
stakes, indeed.
And the fun fact here and the link with the podcast is we decided for our deep dive episode that we wanted to talk about a, let's say, underdog. Like, we didn't want to pick a classic that a celebrity has recommended. And so we decided to talk about Legends and Lattes. So we both started reading the book and it was not a success. So
You know, I remember when I received your text about Legends and Latte and the fact, how is it going reading the book? And I said, oh yes, she doesn't like it either. We can just stop reading it, choose another book because
yeah,
it was so bad. And I read only 4 chapters and I couldn't go on. And this doesn't happen like very often for me.
I think at the beginning I was like, okay, I'm struggling to get into the story, but I'm going to give it a chance. Maybe it's just the first chapter. I'm not, I'm tired. Let's keep this going. But then, yeah, but in the end, 1 week before we were meant to record the episode, we changed the book. So
Yeah.
that was a fun thing to do. Anyway, I still love Claudia Jessie. And I don't know if you have, like, if I know that you don't really listen to audiobooks when they are fiction because you got into audiobooks, but for nonfiction. But what I like is some books are read by actors and actresses. And that makes that makes the experience even better. And why I'm saying this is I actually, talking about me being influenced by celebrities, I bought on Audible a book read by Claudia Jessie. It's a romance
Oh,
novel. I don't remember the name. I just, I wrote Claudia Jessie and I found it on Audible. And so, because I guess in an audiobook, the story is important, but the voice that reads the book
yeah.
is it's important too. So anyway, so we'll see how it goes. I'll tell you if it's a good romance novel or not.
Mm.
And maybe you've heard of it because you're such a connoisseur
Yeah.
in terms of,
Romance addict.
yeah, so you probably know about it. But anyway, I think that's, now that we've complained, that's the end of this episode. And we really hope that this got our listeners curious about what's on the nightstands of their favorite celebrities.
Yeah, share your Rex, please.
And so next up, we will be talking about Taylor's reference, The
Yay!
Giver.
Favorite episode ever.
See you. Bye.
Bye.
That's it for this chapter of Book Nook. If you loved today's episode, don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review.
Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Book Nook the podcast for more bookish fun, and we'll see you next time. Until then, happy reading!